Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you for holding this hearing today, you and Ranking Member Murray. I appreciate your doing this. I think we all agree that free speech is not some kind of left versus right issue. It doesn't work that way. So I want to see if I can ask a question from a little bit different perspective. Mr. Cohen, you run the Southern Poverty Law Center, which tracks American hate groups and extremists. And one of those extremists is Charles Murray. We've talked a little about him this morning. You know, a man who wears a fancy suit and peddles racist junk science about how white men are, biologically speaking, intellectually superior to everyone else. Am I correct that you vehemently disagree with his views?
Completely, Senator.
Good, me too. And as someone who worked as an academic researcher for decades, I think that spouting fake science is extremely corrosive to public policy and should be called out in public at every possible opportunity. So, we got that much. Let's go to the next part. Mr. Cohen, do you believe that powerful institutions of higher learning should ban people like Charles Murray from speaking in public if those institutions or their students or you or I don't like what those speakers have to say?
Just as simply, absolutely not, Senator.
And why not?
Well, look, we make progress as a country by having ideas tested, by having critical thought applied to ideas that are expressed in every realm of life. The Supreme Court has recognized the importance of robust debate. It's a bedrock principle of our country, and we would be much worse off if university presidents, students, or anyone could censor the speech of others simply because they disagree.
You know, I agree with you, and in fact, I think it's dangerous to suppress speech. First, suppression can backfire. Instead of shutting up individuals with disgusting views, it becomes a launching pad to national attention. Bigots and white supremacists can make themselves out to be First Amendment martyrs.
Absolutely.
And grow their audiences. And second, suppression suggests weakness. It makes us sound afraid, like we're afraid that we can't defeat evil ideas with good ideas. And I just don't believe that's true. I believe in free speech, but let's be clear. Free speech doesn't mean the speaker is entitled to an audience. Free speech is not about shutting up or remaining silent while someone demeans women or demeans people of color or anybody else. Students can critique, they can make their voices heard, and they can be very powerful when they do. Free speech means more speech. So, Professor Stanger, you moderated an event with Mr. Murray at Middlebury College where you teach. You were physically attacked. Would you agree with me that acts of violence are not protected by the First Amendment?
I absolutely would agree with you, Senator Warren, on that point, but I would disagree with you respectfully on your characterization of Charles Murray's work, and maybe I might say a little bit about the Middlebury context, which would illuminate some things for us here today. Charles Murray was invited by a student group to speak on campus, and then the political science department co-sponsored the talk. We did so because we're almost all Democrats, and we thought it was important for our students to engage with views that are influential in the Republican Party. What proceeded to happen was that another department on Middlebury's campus, sociology and anthropology, sought to censor the political science department. Now, in my view, this is solved very simply by a Treaty of Westphalia between departments. I mean, if one department thinks something's worth...
Let me just say, Dr. Stanger, I appreciate this, but in a limited amount of time, getting into interdepartmental rivalries from the academic world.
Sure, but let me just...
I would actually prefer to spend our time on the Middle East because it will be easier to solve.
This is true, but just may I make one more point there that's important? I think this is important.
I'll give you...
Please.
I'll give you time, Senator Warren.
Is that okay? It'll take 10 seconds.
Senator Warren ran for the Senate in order to escape interdepartmental rivalry.
I understand that sentiment completely, Senator Warren.
I wanted to come to a place that was more collegial.
That's right. So you should have time to... Senator Warren, I'll give you some extra time to finish your discussion.
The point I just wanted to add that's relevant to this is that no faculty member, to my view, would ever agree for their department to co-sponsor a talk by Richard Spencer. So we're really talking about apples and oranges here, and there's a public-private distinction here that needs to be made. At these public universities, I think we're seeing these provocateurs seeking to set up talks that don't really have faculty sponsorship. So let the faculty lead, and I think we'll go in the right direction.
So let me just see if I can pull this back, though, to the point about what happens with free speech, whether it gets any special protection. And the notion that I just want to underline here is that the people who attacked you get no special protection. Neither does the Charlottesville white supremacist who murdered a woman there, or the 3 white supremacists who tried to shoot people at the University of Florida last week. They will go to jail. Free speech is not about violence. It is not about silence. What I'm concerned about is that right now it is all too easy for all of us to avoid hearing anything that we don't already agree with. And that is an enormous threat to our democracy. I know that powerful people want us divided, that foreign governments are pouring gasoline on that fire, flooding Facebook and Twitter with angry messages designed to stir up lingering resentments. The President of the United States is pouring even more gasoline on that fire, attacking our free press as a, quote, enemy of the people, and even threatening to use the awesome power of the government to shut down press outlets for reporting that he doesn't agree with. And I don't care what your politics are. All of us who believe in America and its freedoms need to work harder to put out that fire. And we start by making sure that powerful institutions and individuals don't shut down speech they don't like. And that includes universities, and it definitely includes the President of the United States. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.